The camera zooms in on a tall, sleek office building, glistening in the sunlight. Inside, a well-dressed millionaire sits at his desk, surrounded by luxury. His face, however, is weary, like someone who's seen the world but never truly felt at home in it. Then, a knock at the door. A woman enters, a black girl, no older than 25, with an air of quiet confidence that contrasts with her. She's not here to ask for anything. She's not here to beg. Instead, she tells him in the most unexpected words, "I can fix your broken heart." The millionaire looks up, stunned by her audacity, yet something in her voice, in her presence, makes him hesitate. What happens next will shock you. We flash back to the girl's life before this moment. Her name is Ava, a woman from a humble neighborhood, where the only things that seemed unbreakable were the bonds of family and the strength of community. She grew up in a world where her skin color often meant she was overlooked, where opportunities slipped through her fingers simply because of where she was born. Yet Ava never let those barriers define her. She worked hard, striving to make a name for herself in a world that constantly reminded her of her place. She became a therapist, a healer of hearts, a listener to those who needed a voice. Over the years, she built a modest reputation, but always knew there was something greater she was meant to do. But meanwhile, Jason the millionaire lives in a world of wealth and privilege. He owns multiple businesses, with a life filled with luxury that most only dream of. But there's something missing. The sadness in his eyes is a reflection of a heart that has been broken too many times. His past is riddled with betrayals, relationships built on lies, and a deep loneliness he couldn't escape. His wealth could buy anything, except peace of mind. Both of their worlds were about to collide in an unexpected way. Ava's path was not supposed to cross with his, but fate works in strange ways. She found herself in the office of his company, hired by a mutual acquaintance to provide therapy for a few troubled executives. However, when Ava crossed paths with Jason, something shifted. Jason saw her as nothing more than an employee at first, just another face among the others. But when she spoke those words, something in him stirred. He had no idea why, but he found himself intrigued. As Ava begins working with Jason, she quickly realizes something is off. She notices how he isolates himself, even in crowded rooms. How he speaks with authority but hides his vulnerability behind a mask of indifference. His heart, shattered by past betrayals, seems beyond repair. But there's a deeper story. Ava listens intently as Jason opens up bit by bit about the brokenness he's carried for years. The love he once had, lost to greed, lies, and the bitterness of a world that had treated him differently because of his success. How, despite all the material wealth, he felt trapped by expectations, judged by the color of his money, not by the integrity of his soul. Ava sees through the cracks in his armor. She starts to break through his walls with her calm demeanor, her unwavering patience, and a deep understanding of pain that transcends her own experiences. As they speak more, Ava becomes aware of something Jason has never fully admitted: own internalized racism. The way he's been conditioned to believe that people like him should have everything, while others, especially people of color, are supposed to stay in their place. In these quiet moments, Ava's heart aches for him, not for his wealth, but for the man he's become, isolated soul, consumed by guilt and shame. But with every word of compassion she offers, he pushes back, telling her that people like him don't need saving, that people like her are better off with their own kind. Ava's patience is tested as Jason lets his biases slip. "You wouldn't understand what it's like to have everything," he says, "to be expected to do more and be more, just because of who you are." But Ava doesn't back down. She doesn't let him off the hook. "What if I told you," she replies, her voice steady but firm, "that people like me are better at fixing broken hearts? Because we know what it's like to be unseen, unheard, and underestimated. And I can help you heal." The tension between them grows. Ava sees the struggle in Jason's eyes, his pride, fighting against the truth she's speaking. She doesn't just want to help him heal his broken heart. She wants to free him from the invisible chains that have kept him captive for so long. The moment of reckoning arrives when Jason faces his most vulnerable moment yet. After weeks of therapy, Ava finally gets him to confront his past head-on. It's in the middle of an intense session, where Jason's emotions spill over years of pain, loss, and regret flooding to the surface. He breaks down, unable to hold back the years of anger and hurt anymore. "I've been told my whole life that I'm supposed to have it all. That because of my skin, my success, I should be untouchable," he admits, his voice trembling. "But no one ever told me that my heart could be so broken, that my success would come at the cost of everything that really matters. Ava watches him closely, her eyes filled with understanding, but also pain. Your heart didn't break because of your success, Jason, she responds softly. It broke because you've been taught to believe that you don't deserve love or healing, that people like you can only be loved for what they own. But that's not true. We all deserve to heal. You deserve to heal. In this heated, raw moment, Ava presses Jason to finally acknowledge the weight of his privilege and the immense isolation that comes with it. Jason, still trembling, asks, "But what do I do now? I've spent my whole life running from this truth." Ava, unwavering, steps forward. You stop running. You stop letting fear rule your heart. You face the ugly parts of yourself, the prejudices, and the wounds, and you let them heal. And you allow someone else to help you. Jason looks at her with a mix of disbelief and gratitude. For the first time, he doesn't feel alone. He feels seen, not as a millionaire, not as someone trapped in his own wealth, but as a man who's been lost, looking for someone to show him a way out of the darkness. It's in this moment that everything changes. Jason finally lets go of the shame that has haunted him for years. The fight between his ego and his heart dissolves as he opens up completely to Ava. She wasn't just fixing his broken heart. She was helping him understand that healing could only begin when he accepted that his worth wasn't tied to his money or status. As Jason steps into the light of self-awareness, the weight of his past begins to lift. He no longer sees Ava as just a therapist, but as a catalyst for transformation. The emotional scars he's carried for so long begin to heal, slowly but surely. He starts to change the way he views the world, letting go of the biases he once harbored, understanding that the only way forward is to embrace vulnerability and equality. Ava, in turn, sees a different side of Jason. The man who walked into her life with walls built high and firm now stands in front of her, broken yet whole, in ways he never thought possible. His eyes reflect a peace he had never known before, a peace that only comes when one stops running from the truth. As their sessions come to an end, Jason thanks her, but it's more than just gratitude. It's the recognition of how much she has done for him. He's not just healed in his heart. He's learned to live without the fear of being seen for who he truly is. "You fixed my heart," Jason admits. "But you also gave me the courage to love myself." Ava smiles, knowing that she's done more than just help him heal. She's helped him change the narrative of his life. No longer will he be defined by his wealth, his success, or his race. He is now a man who knows that healing begins with understanding, and that love is not defined by privilege, but by the willingness to grow and change. As Jason walks away, Ava reflects on the power of what she does. She understands now, more than ever, that healing isn't just about fixing broken hearts, it's about mending the deep-rooted wounds that society has left in its wake. And sometimes, it takes someone from the outside to help you see the truth about yourself. The story ends with a question for the audience. How many of us are hiding behind walls built from years of pain, fear, and prejudice? And what would happen if we allowed ourselves to be truly seen and healed?